And Galen, if you would join me up here.
I wanted to tell you, I have a family ring here, which has a motto. It's called, in Latin, cognoscere occasionem. That means to know the occasion. Very few times that has ever happened to me, but 40 years ago, this month, March, it did happen to me. I was working at the Y Poetry Center for 10 years in the 60s. I'm 72. And I was pregnant with my second son. I was 8 months pregnant and I decided to leave the Y. They had wanted me to stay as a consultant, which I did for several more years, but nevertheless, I was leaving. And we had this project from the New York State Arts Council, which was to give money to poets, to give readings all over New York State. And we run it for 3 years, and the Y didn't want to do it without me. So I went to the chairman of the New York State Arts Council, John Hightower, and said, John, you know, what shall we do with this project? The Y doesn't want it. Shall we give it to another organization, or shall we end it? And he said, oh no, we're not going to give it to another organization. We're not going to end it. You start your own organization. I was 8 months pregnant. I was dumbfounded. I said, I'm going to have 2 children. He said, this will be your 3rd child. So tonight, all my 3 children are in this room. Then I said to John, I was sort of gasping for breath and composure, what should we call it? And he looked out the window. It was actually the Hightower building on 57th and 7th, and he was on the 25th floor. He looked out the window and he came back in, his gaze came back in about 30 seconds later, and he said, it should begin with poets. How about poets and writers? And that was my moment where I knew he was right. I should accept this challenge. Cognoscere occasionem, know the occasion. And I skipped down 57th Street on my way home thinking, oh my gosh, I hope I'm up to this. I guess I was. Our first grant was for $30,000. Now we have around $3 million, and that's owing to our fabulous board, some of whom have been on our board for 15 and 20 years, have been so supportive, so generous, so hardworking, and our incredible staff. Again, Elliot, who's been here for 33 years, and many others who've been here for at least a decade, and that's the kind of thing that keeps an organization growing and strong. And I hope you'll all come back next year. We'll be here.
Doctors say you're not supposed to skip when you're pregnant. Going for the jam run. I would say, because Tom Wolfe is here, and I just idolize Tom Wolfe, and I know he's writing a book about Miami, and I just want to let him know that last July we had an incident where there was a live 6-foot nurse shark on the People Mover. And I can explain, but if you need a story involving possible civilian pedestrian